G'day everyone, Rach here from Inky Planners. Welcome to the start of my 2026 reading journal setup. I've just realised I've left the door open, but we should be alright. This will be a collection of clips edited together as I do things, but what I thought I would do is show you as of middle November where the reading journal is at, and if I can get them out, some little tabs, tab off the pages that I'm going to take into next year. I know in past videos about this I have moaned that I wish Happy Planner would update their reading journal stuff, and apparently they have. And I had a look, and I don't like one, and the one I do like has got the word book club on the front, so I'm no better off. I might look at what is available via Etsy. This is a classic Happy Planner size, and I'm sure that there are people who make Happy Planner classic size covers. My problem is through Etsy the shipping is stupid, ridiculous. I do not know how they come to the figure that they come to, but you can buy a sheet of stickers from America that will cost you $9 and the shipping will be $35. So I'm not sure that I will go down that route, but I will have a look at what's available. The other thing I have got packed away, as far as I am aware, I'm pretty sure they're packed away. They might not be, I'll check. I actually have the plastic cover with a slot in it that you could make your own covers. So I might go down that road as well if I can get my hands on those easily in my pile of boxes. Because I'm sick of this. I don't like the black background. I just want to change. So we'll just see what happens. Anyway, so let's attempt to get you in the frame. I've just been sticking things down here, books that I find or whatever, and that is a page that I'm going to add in next year, or for next year's journal. So I tend to, for the last 2 years, and I will be doing it again, stamping a cover for my journal, and I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm going to start a little bit and then I'll finish it off camera, because I'm not sure yet I've figured out how to speed up in my editing suite. So I'll do a little bit with you and then I'll finish it and you can see it at the end. What I did do this year is put stickers on the back of it, which I really don't like at all. Oh, spoiler. I've got this little pocket that came, it's a Stampin' Up. It's a Stampin' Up pocket. What is this, 6x8 maybe? And I actually managed to use the Happy Planner disc and put holes in it. And I quite liked that page. This came from I actually think this came from Studio Calico potentially a few years ago. So I've got that on the front, and then I've got kind of my key on the back, which I'm going to do a bit of updating with. The dividers came from just a dot grid notebook, or a notebook from Happy Planner, which I like because you get the inside doesn't have a calendar on it. So this is the reading log that I've been doing for the last few years, and you just had a quick spoiler that I'm going to try something different next year. So currently I'm at 70 books, about to start 71, and I tend to stick my goal at 60. So I'm ahead of the game at this stage, although Goodreads might not tell me that because I keep forgetting to put the physical books that I read in Goodreads. So that doesn't bother me. I don't use Goodreads on a regular basis. This is the days that I read and the genres that I've read, and I've done this for a couple of years now, and I'll continue to do that again. The goals, I just didn't keep up with this, filling in things. I've read Stuffy Kindle books, I've probably filled this all, and I have not done any readathons this year though. And I've exceeded my 60 books. I'm probably not going to do a goal page next year, or I'll figure out how I do it. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen going forward. This is my book bingo that I have enjoyed doing. I'm not concerned if I don't get any lines or fill the whole thing in. It's just, did I read something that will settle in one of these squares? I've potentially got 2 more squares that I can cover off, 3 if I choose to read something non-Christmassy. But I'm probably not going to do a classic. I'm probably not going to do a library book this year. Has a colour in the title? I don't know. I'm not going to look for something, but I've enjoyed that. What I didn't like is trying to squeeze in the title or the author or whatever. And I had plans. No, I obviously didn't have plans because I didn't allow for it on the other side. What I want to do next year is actually have the covers, have the bingo squares and then the covers squares on the opposite side. So that's something I will change up a bit. So I had a book bingo and I had a trope bingo. So the same thing again, I want to do a page where I put the covers in rather than trying to squeeze them in the square. So I've enjoyed that. This reading challenge was from Sarah's Nightstand and somebody else, and I never ever wrote the other person's name down. Go with the flow, and I've actually really enjoyed this, so I'm up to date. I just haven't printed off photo for November. I included this in because the prompt for April was a word from page 100 in the title, and I was reading a Kindle book, and I don't know how well you can see, but literally there were 3 lines on page 100 of that Kindle book. So I thought I would include that as just a reminder of I had to find something that had such a few selection of words, but I managed it. Yeah, so, and then next year, obviously I need to just change how I do it because I didn't really think about the printing off of the photos, so I need to do it so that I can turn them 90 degrees up the right way. And also, I don't know if Sarah's going to do it again this year, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and make my own based off this. So use some of what was already on here and add maybe a couple of different prompts. That's what that sticky is all about. This I have also enjoyed doing, and again, everything in my reading journal is a no big deal if it doesn't get done thing. It's just for the enjoyment. It must have been last year, I put together finally a library. This is a really poorly printed photo. And what I did is decide that I need to read at least one book off each of the fiction shelves. There is fiction and non-fiction on my library shelves. So I've managed to reach 5 of the 15 fiction shelves. So I will redo this again this year. In fact, I did it yesterday, is tidied up the library, put all the newer books that have been piling up on shelves away in their slots. So I will take a new photo when it comes time to set this page up. With the updated, we're now up to 16 fiction shelves. I've had to squish 2 non-fiction shelves together so that I can create another fiction shelf. I'm gonna need a new bookcase soon, and I've got no room for it in this location anyway. So I will also be redoing this, and I think this is a cool way actually of keeping a memento of what the library was looking like. So this was like the beginnings of the library. It was done late last year-ish, within 6 months of this photo being taken anyway. And so each year there'll be a more updated photo. So I will be doing that again. I need to change up how I record the series tracker, and I'm also not great at writing down all the series that I'm reading, so I need to do something about that. Because it was such an expanse, I put this P tape at the bottom, and I didn't like it down there. I didn't like it anyway, so I think we will make a new one of these pages for next year. And in fact, I had an idea, so make another, rather than just shifting it over, which is really what I should do, but I don't like it. I want a new one. I'm probably just going to shift this page over as is, because there isn't enough room. I've already got 2 books on it for next year, so I think that I will probably just shift it over. I don't know why I've got ticks there and there. I don't know. Anyway, this page can be removed. Oh yeah, because it's got that on the back anyway. I know that. I didn't keep up with this. I probably could go back and figure out the books actually, and I may think about that. Can I fill this in? Potentially. Query fill in. There's no reason why I couldn't. And how did I do that? Did I do that on here? That the same size? Yeah, okay, so that I did that on my little photo printer. Okay. So I could probably figure that out and do that. I might try and do that before I put it away. My top 5 will be changing. I'll be swapping out a book and adding in a new book. So I'll do a new page for that. That's a spare bit of paper. I did have the blurbs for the top 5, but I don't know that I need them. I might just put them. I don't know. I'll see. If I keep them, I will then do a new blurb for the book I'm adding in. So what I have done over the course of this year, I do not think I had this in the last time I showed it. I have now catalogued, and I'm keeping up with it, all my physical books and all my Kindle books, and I've separated out the historical romance. So it's not aesthetically pleasing, and that doesn't matter to me. What I do need to figure out is the crossing off of the books that I've read, and I think I've come up with an option, and I need to remember to write that down. So I've just got either someone who I have a lot of books of gets their own page, or I just put various letters of the alphabet together, and I get to use my fountain pens. So that's my physical selection. My Kindle selection is a lot bigger. Oh yeah, I need to do the November one. I have been trying to keep track of how many books I add to my Kindle versus how many I read. I don't know if I'll do this next year. I'll see. Because I don't read as many as I add, let's put it that way. We'll see. We might drag that washi tape out again too. So, Yeah, so again, Kindle, same thing. I think for most of these, because I have a lot of books on my Kindle, over 1,000 books, it's basically 1 page per letter of the alphabet, and then if I've got a lot by one author, they get their own page. So that's all my Kindle. I don't know what that's for. Oh, those are my non-fiction writing books. And I did have all my Christmas books also, as well as being in the main body of the, under there, you know, in the main catalogue. Come on, Rachel. I did also put all my Christmas books together, so I probably need to update that. Historical romance, these are my physical historical romances on the shelves, and again it's the same principle, few letters mixed together, if I have a lot by one author, that sort of thing. My author page is not, a section rather, is still a work in progress. I have gone ahead and done one potential. I've got 2 that I probably will keep, and there's still others that I'm nowhere near deciding what I'm going to do about. So I've written out the books by series, then whether I own them, are they physical or an ebook, and have I read them. And so, and I can tick off, I have just recently got the second book in the Bootleg Spring series as a physical, and the third one is actually on its way to me as well. I'm just building that series up. And then the same, I think I've got there is a new Lucinda Riley in conjunction with her son, who's obviously working through her older manuscripts. So there is a new Lucinda Riley out, and I haven't yet got that, but I will add it to my list. And then these ones haven't changed since the last time I flicked through, because I haven't decided who else I want to record yet. And then just my archives, so my reading log from 23, this is before I did a cover page, then my 24 with my reading log, and just a few of the pages that I've kept. Oh, and this I pulled out of something and haven't decided whether I'll use or not. So that's my reading journal as it stands now. What I will do is turn off the camera momentarily and set up a couple of things, and we will start to make the title page. So I will be back in a moment. Okay, so what I have got is a piece of thicker paper card that I have cut down to classic size. I have marked out my square where my numbers are going to go, and I'll reveal those later, but it's a bigger square than normal. And then I've just pulled out all my stamp sets that relate to books, or most of them. Most of them are from Studio Calico, but I believe, did I keep it in here? Yeah. There's a reading with Hiba. I can't think what her channel name is. That's the name on the back. So there's a reading book there. But most of these are Studio Calico. Plus I've got some Coffee Monsters Co. that have books on them as well. And I'm going to be stamping with Stampin' Up's Old Olive. So basically all I do is grab some acrylic blocks. I don't think I'll need the big one, I might. And I've even got one more bigger one just in case. I've got some wipes ready to clean things with, and we just select a stamp and get going. So I'll do this for a couple of minutes, otherwise it's potentially going to be like watching paint dry, although it's a smaller space this time. I need to find new homes for these stamps because the packaging is breaking. If by chance you are a new stamper with acrylic stamps or clear stamps, one of the best things that you need to know is when you, A, not put too much ink on your stamp in the first place, and B, when you pull your stamp up off the page, pull it straight up. Don't turn it to turn or anything like that, which will smudge it. Put your stamp down. You'll see what I do. Stamp on the page, give it a little press, and then pull straight up in one movement. Otherwise, that's where you will end up with blurred images and get frustrated. So I just tap lightly on the stamp pad, because this is an older stamp pad. I wonder if I've actually got a re-inker. You'll see me do this, and I will actually just look through. There we go, on the white. Look through the top of the block and just check that the ink is all over the stamp before I press it down, because it's very hard with using an acrylic block to redo your stamp. That's again another way you'll get a blurred image. You can use, there are stamping tools, and I can't think what the name of it is, and I do have one, but it's packed away in a box, but I wouldn't actually use it for this, and I've stamped for long enough that I know what I'm doing. So we're just going to put a stamp down and we're just going to get going. There we go. And I just clean as I go. Even if I'm likely to use this stamp again, I always just clean as I go and put it back where it came from. But I won't put it back in its bag. Let's change to, let's have one of these newer stamp sets. I might take a couple off here. Let's start with that. Okay, let's go over here. We might do another one of those up the top. So it's just going to be a case. I don't know all these. Let's have New Booklet. Because that's my downfall. Books. Let's put that front and centre. Oh, these are stamping nicely. Studio Calico stamps do stamp really nicely. Let me look at the time. Okay, so we'll stop. I know what time to stop at. I've put that on upside down, which is going to make it hard to... What else have we got on here that might be interesting? 5-star read, and also that little one. Okay. The other thing with looking through is to make sure that you've put your stamp on the block the right way up. What's going on there? We might have another one of those, so I might just stick it slightly under the edge of the numbers. If you know Stampin' Up at all, you know that that Old Olive is an old stamp pad, and it's still going strong. A book. That was possibly a bit close, but the whole page will fill up eventually anyway. So, alright, I'll open one more packet. Let's have a look. I don't know. I'm probably asking for trouble with what I'm about to do. How does this work? Oh, they're all single stamps. Okay. Okay. What I'm going to do is turn off the camera and carry on with this, and then I'll show you the end result shortly. Okay, I am back, and in the time between the last clip where I started showing you the stamping and now, I have actually completed all the pages while I watched a cricket match in the end. So I'm just going to give you a flip through of the pages that I have done ready for next year. Yeah, so let's just crack on. There are a couple of things I still need to do. So I've made myself a list. I mucked up my... Can I put my hands on it? Yes, I can. So what I have been doing, page 27, is printing off this Year in Pixels twice, one for the journal and one for my bookmark. So I've got last year's reading, I've got this year's reading, and I printed off another one, but it's actually, one, it's bigger, and two, I mucked up my colour code. So I have to reprint it, and I will actually try and resize it, which I might just write 80, I think is it 82%? I'll check, I'll find out. So I'm leaving the 2025 stuff as it is for the moment. So my trackers, I did pull out a couple of pages that I want the best of books that I wasn't actually doing anything with. So otherwise my bingo and my read the shelf and the go with the flow challenge are all still in here because I've still got time to complete them all. So this is 2026, and what will happen is that at the end of December I'll take out the front part of this section as well as the cover page, put that as the cover page, and then everything should be in the right place to get going for next year. So that is how my stamping turned out in the end, and I was just looking for some stamps to get another setting up planning video done, and I realized I had a whole other book thing that I had forgotten I had and didn't even use, and there were some good ones on there, but I am not redoing it. I will just remember that for next year. So my cover page, I'm putting my top 5 at the front. So I've swapped out T.L. Swan's The Takeover for Lucy's Scores, Things We Left Behind, which is book 3 of the Knock 'Em Out series, which is Enemies to Lovers. I think that's Enemies to Lovers, that's Enemies to Lovers, that's a bit, but it's more Christmassy. So yeah, I like Enemies to Lovers. So this is my reading log for next year, and hopefully I will keep up with it, otherwise I will revert back. If I'm struggling with it pretty quickly, I will revert back to my bog standard, just lists and ticks. But the only thing that's new on it is, I just do that, I've added series into the logging part of it. Otherwise, the date, the title, the author is still the same, the format and genre stuff is still the same, and my ratings, I normally just write the ratings. Now I will have to be honest, probably just do a yellow dot. I don't know that I'll colour it, and we'll just see. So I've made a Dutch door type system. So I've got my key, my Year in Pixels, and I had printed off 40 of these squares, and my reading goal will be 60, but we'll start with 40. So I've got a full page done, a page and a bit left to go, and then the end of the Dutch door part, or the logging part of the system. Then I did end up doing a goals page, but I've just kept it very basic. So read 60 books, read 26 books that I already own by the 1st of January next year. In other words, don't just keep reading the new stuff, read the old stuff as well. And I've put 2 readathons or challenges, but that's probably not going to happen. As with everything that you'll see in here, I am not pushing to do any of it. If it happens, it happens. It's just a fun part of my reading. I do not have the time to dedicate to big challenges or anything like that. And I'm not even making TBRs anymore. I'm literally mood reading, and if it fits with something, I'll tick it off. I've done a stats page, so I'm just going to record, just in case it doesn't show up very clearly on the screen, books read, whether it's a physical or a Kindle, or how many physical books I brought, how many Kindle books I acquired, did I get something from the library, which should really have been moved, but closer to the other ones, but that's okay. And then the total number of books that are on my Kindle. And I have roughly been filling this page in. Did I pull it out? Was it on something? I have a feeling the page has gone now. Yeah, I pulled it out already. Yeah, I have roughly been keeping up with doing a version of this anyway. There's my big book bingo page. I wanted the squares to be big enough. Can I get this out easily? Oh, no, there we go. So this is a full-size photo that comes out of my Kodiak printer, or Kodak. And this is a quarter size of it. So I've made the squares so that the quarter size will fit in. And hopefully by doing it like that, every 4 books, I can print off a page or a photo, cut it up, and put the pages down. That's kind of how I'm going to try and operate. In case it doesn't show up clear enough, I have got a non-fiction book, which is not a writing book, starter series, historical fiction, male author, library book, has a green cover, read in one sitting, one-word title, debut novel. Wickles, which is one of the 2 big book chains here in New Zealand, they put out a top 100 list every year. So read something off the Wickles 100 list. A new to me author, published in 2026, a free choice, finish a series, a book set in Italy, a translated book, a closed door romance, set in autumn. The last physical book I got in 2025, which I probably need to make a sticky for, my brain is working, so I remember what it is. So last books, and so the 3 I got yesterday, that was a Megan Quinn. You're just hearing my brain working. That was the Irish Christmas book, and that was book 3 in the Bootleg series. Bootleg, I think it's a Bootleg Springs. Okay, there should be some more. I'm actually after a book potentially tomorrow, but I need to just keep that handy. And where will I keep that handy? Oh, last one. We'll put it on the inside the front cover. Can't reach the bin. Last book I brought, step out of my comfort zone, because I really do just primarily read in a very narrow window of romance, be that contemporary, historical, or getting into more adult themes. I do have read historical fiction in the past, and I do read the odd non-fiction book, but beyond that, I don't branch out, and I would still like to. I think I've said this a few times, probably when I used to have my BookTube channel, not so much on this channel. I'm interested in some sort of police procedural where the murder, if it's a murder, is not gruesomely detailed, because I don't find being scared out of my wits entertaining. So we'll see. I don't know what that will be yet. Read a book that's over 500 pages, a book with a map inside, a recommendation from Instagram, which is one of the places I get my new book ideas from, a book that won an award, and a book set at the beach. Set at the beach. Ooh. Good. So, book bingo, and then I've got trope bingo, which I quite like as well. So I'll just go through those quickly in case it's not, I won't know how well you can see it until I put it on the computer later. So we've got enemies to lovers, which will be a no-brainer for me because it's my number one trope. Small town, dark romance, reverse harem, wallflower, hidden identity, forced proximity, forbidden romance, why choose, billionaires, reverse age gap, sports romance, a free choice, workplace, mountain man, grumpy sunshine, slow burn, snowed in, fake dating, one bed, he falls first, holiday romance, same-sex romance, BDSM romance, mistaken identity. So I haven't gone too much out of my comfort zone with this. I don't really read sports romances. I don't really read slow burns. I don't really read mountain men actually either. I've read the odd one. And I haven't read a lot of same-sex. But yeah, so it's not too far out of my comfort zone. It should be able to be done. But with this year, I haven't completely done this year's one yet. I don't know how many I've got left to do on this year's one. I've got 1, 2, 3, although I've got an option for that. 4, 5. I've actually got quite a few I haven't covered. That's interesting. Oh well. I'm sure I can find some things. Anyway, like I said, it's no big deal if it doesn't get accomplished. But again, space to put the covers because I think that would be quite fun. Moving over, I've got read your shelves. So I don't know how well it will show up. Well, you can see all the little white squares. So I've numbered each shelf, done a line, done some messy alternate line highlights. And each time I read a book off any of these shelves, at least one of them, I will write it down. My series tracker is obviously new to what it was. I've thrown out the other one anyway. So I just stamped some books in each square with a highlight. Oh, I haven't written that down. So that is, this is Black Hawk. I think that's the right name for the series, Juliet and Binks. The only thing I haven't decided is colouring in the spines, because I think I will. Do I colour them in my colour code? Oh, I can't reach it. Where's my colour code? Do I colour it in the colour code? But the problem is, certainly with all the ones that are on here anyway, it's all the same colour. Or do I just... The other thought I had was the colour of the spine of the book. These ones I've got physically, so I can figure that one out. But these are all on my Kindle, so I'm not sure what the colour of the spine is. But I could probably work that out by looking at the photo on either Amazon or Goodreads. So yeah, what do you think? Colour it by genre or colour it by the colour of the spine? Drop your comments below. So I've got a front page and a back page. I've got rooms for some longer series and some either duos or trilogies. And then I thought I would try, and I do not know if I've ever done this before. I don't have any record of trying it. Possibly I might have tried it once. I'm going to try the A to Z. No big deal if it doesn't happen. I was looking up because I was thinking, if I try it, how am I going to cope with these letters at the end that are harder to do? So I just looked up X and found, I think the first book on X is a romance. So I wrote it down, ready for that. Yeah, so we'll just see how we go. Oh yeah, flowing on. So I started to make this, and the plan was to make it a double spread, but I spaced the second column too close together, and I was like, "Ugh." So I just made a flap instead at the bottom. So this is based on a challenge that Sarah's Nightstand, who is a booktuber, made this year that I have been following along and doing. She did it with somebody else whose name I do not know. But I decided rather than wait for her to come out with a new set of prompts, if she's going to, I don't know if she's doing it or not, I would just do my own. So starting book in January will have a blue cover. Then the February book needs to be the same trope as the January book. The March book needs to have, the author needs to be the opposite genre? I did write gender too, not genre, that's good. The author of March's book needs to be the opposite gender than February's book. April's book needs to have half the amount of words in the title, so if March's book is a 6-word title, April's needs to be a 3-word title. Then in May it needs to be a different format. In June it needs to be plus or minus 25 pages. Then in July the author has the same initials. So if the author of June's book is AB, the author of July's book needs to be AB. I don't know if I've made that harder for myself by having both initials rather than either a first name or a surname. We'll find out. And of course the other thing is that I could do a my game, my rules type thing and have the same author. Then August's book needs to be a different genre from what July's book was. September's book needs to be set in the opposite hemisphere. I've added that one in. Trope and hemisphere, I think, are pretty much mine. I think the rest of them are a variation on what was on this year's challenge. So if August's book is set in Canada, September's book needs to be set in New Zealand, Australia, Peru, anywhere, opposite hemisphere. October's book is a word from page 50 from September's book. So a bit like I showed at the front and the very first clip of the video. Where is the page? So if you remember at the front I showed you this because the prompt was a word from page 100 in the title, and my page 100 of the book only had 3 lines. So it's that same concept, but I've chosen page 50 rather than page 100 for no reason. In November it needs to be the same coloured spine, and then in December there needs to be the same word in a title. So I need to just make sure that what I choose in November has a good selection of words in the title so that it makes it easier for me to find the December book. And the December book doesn't have to be a Christmas book or anything like that. So, and I've made these squares that big enough again for the photo like I showed you. So this is my check these out book. So these are all the things I often screenshot pictures of books and then do nothing about them. So what I've done is this last batch that I had done earlier, and it's been last week actually, I have written down them all, having gone through the photos again and decided off what I was looking at whether I still wanted to go forward. I've written down all the things I want to go forward with, plus books that are coming out soon that I know about, either in series I'm already reading. So I'm already a page and a half through. Oh, I made a line on my thing. That doesn't matter. So those are all my 2026 pages for next year. The rest of the journal is exactly the same as what I showed you earlier. It's even updated as of yesterday. So the 3 books that I got yesterday have already been catalogued. So there we go. 2026. Do you keep a reading journal? I still need to update that. That's one of the things I want to work on, and I'll be pleased to get rid of that page. Well, I won't be getting rid of it, because I will use this to divide the section in the archive at the back. Anyway, as I was asking, do you keep a reading journal, or is there a channel whose reading journal you like watching? Drop that in the comments below. If you keep a reading journal, what do you use? I love the books. I love watching people setting up the books, but I just love the versatility of the rings and being able to move pages in and out. And in fact, since I showed this last year, I've actually put it on expander discs. When I finally catalogued everything, I put it on expander discs. So anyway, that's where we're at. That's my reading journal for next year, and you will see it again in a year's time, I guess. Because I don't fill out monthly stuff, there's no real need for me to show it, but I'm happy to show a mid-year update if people are interested. So there we go. I will catch you again in another video very soon. Thanks everyone. Bye for now. Hi again. I'm just doing an extra clip because I have added something kind of major, and I thought I would just tie the whole what I'm taking into 2026 together. So I'm not doing a complete flip again because that was in the last clip, but I'll just show you a couple of things I've done and the new bit I've stuck in. So I am working away on my to-do list. What I have done is fix up my key stuff on the back here of this little pocket that I quite like. So oh, that's why, because it's not on properly. So I've got what all the words, all the letters mean. I've got some colour coding for the year the book was read, and my star rating information. Then what else have I done? So I have added some washi to the top of the book and trope bingos. And the other thing that I was umming and ahhing about was what to colour the spines in. And I think what I'm actually going to do is colour them in by year red, because that will then give at least some changes, certainly for these longer series. My colour coding is dot markers, but probably what I will do is try and colour match, if I can reach one, with Tombow. So I'll go through and I'll figure out a good enough match, and I'll add it to the key at the front. So then the next thing I have done is add a section which I have put just a bit of washi at the top of. I probably will try and find some of their graphics just to put on the top of this page, Or I might, I don't know, this might be where I put the book covers even. That's a thought, because it could extend all the way across. So, I said I wasn't going to do anything major. I'm going to try Romanceopoly again. I just happened to be scrolling BookTube and I saw the video, and I have tried it once or twice in the past, and you know, like everything I do challenge-wise, it's a fun addition to my reading, and if I manage to do anything, great. This, if I stick to the 4 main points that they have as part of the core part of the Romanceopoly challenge for next year, is 20 books. And for me, these will not be 20 books in addition to all the other books I'm reading. If these 20 books fit any of the other prompts, let's close that so you don't get confused by touching that. If these 20 books fill in any other prompts in my reading challenges, they will go there. So I'm not making essentially any more work for myself. I'm just adding another thing to see where I can fit a book in. So the premise for Romanceopoly next year is centered around a university, or college as you call them in America, if that's where you are watching me from. And what they have done is they have given you 5 core curriculum classes, which is the centre circle on the map. If I move it over just a little bit, you can see the whole map. It did not print straight on my paper, annoyingly, but I'm not going to waste ink and redo it again. And then what you do, they've got then 5 zones, and you choose 1 major and 1 minor, so you need to read all the prompts from those zones, and then you can choose 5 more books from the other 3 zones if you like. So the zones are romantic arts, fantasy theory, paranormal studies, historical studies, and dark psychology. And I've chosen, the other thing, I did not print these very well, trying to resize them. So my major is the romantic arts. So that's your bog standard contemporary romance stuff. And my minor is historical studies, again, your bog standard historical romances. So those should be fine enough for me to do. The other 5 are going to be a little bit tricky because paranormal and fantasy I don't really read, and I haven't read a lot of, but I'm not adverse to the idea of dark. I'm calling it dark romance. It's called dark psychology, but it's all those morally grey men and things like that. So I'm suspecting I might look at, because I think on my book bingo, I've got read out of my comfort zone. So I might double that up with one of these books and then get the rest of my 5 electives from dark psychology. Then on top of that, they've got clubs, and there's something about seasons as well and stuff like that. So I did not print off the whole PDF. I think something like 56 pages. So I just printed off the pages that were, for me, were relevant. So I've got the rules, I've got the main sort of worksheet. So then you've got 4 clubs. I think we'll look at them as we get to those pages. And I think the study seasons, if you can see this clearly enough on your screen, I think that's a book of the month. I'm not sure I'm going to commit to that because that's going with someone else's choice. So I probably won't do the book of the month. But I will probably do some of the clubs and events as well. So that will add on to the 20 books that they are asking you to read to complete the challenge. So that's my extra sheet for adding things in. So for example, on what to read, the prompt, this is the core curriculum. So they're asking everybody who does Romanceopoly to read these 5 books. So read a book by an author you've never read before, read a romance that made or will make you cry or emotionally spiral. I don't know how you find that out, but find what that book will be, I don't know. Read a romance book from a genre you don't typically read. Again, that covers that bingo prompt I've got. Read a popular book, BookTok bestseller, or trending in your feed. Read a book that features a classic romance trope. Hello, enemies to lovers. So that's what they're asking everyone to read. So then what I've done is just printed off the prompts for the major that I'll be doing, which is romantic arts, and the minor, which is historical romance. And I have printed off, so dark psychology is probably the third, that's 3, and where I'll get the most of those 5 electives from, so I've put that at the top. Fantasy is probably the one I will try over paranormal. I really don't know. I just don't know what out of these 2 I will pick one. I might challenge myself and try and do 1 fantasy and 1 paranormal, but that, unless I can find them as shorts, that's could screw up my reading for the year. Because if I get into something that I really can't do, I tend to fall off the reading for a little while. So I will just see what I can find. It'll involve a little bit of research. And then we get into optional clubs, and I think this is just reading things. There's probably a lot more to the whole Romanceopoly than what I'm going to do, and if it's something that intrigues you, I would suggest you look up the video. I think it's Under the Covers book blog, and they have a YouTube channel, which is how I found out about this, and then obviously an actual romanceopoly.com website. I wonder if that's where I actually went to, or versus the book blog website. Doesn't matter. So I'm assuming that you can put points into something or whatever. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just going to do the 20 books and then some of these other optional extras that come in. Maybe 1 off each. Well, no, I'm not going to say 1 off each page because they are, so you're getting into paranormal and things like that. So I've just printed off the clubhouse cards. So the clubs that there are, there's 4 of them. And then I've printed off the seasonal events. So during the first quarter, each quarter, goodness me words, each quarter has 4 prompts. So I might look at 1 book per quarter. So we've got paranormal fantasy, read a dark paranormal romance, and then read a dark romance, villain, main character, mafia, assassin, and dangerous love. None of these really jump out at me, and again, I don't know where in the rules whether I can actually use one of these. The prompts are probably not gonna, my brain is just working as I read this, you see. Anyway, 4 quarters each have 4 prompts, so I will try and look at maybe 1 out of each of these 4 sections, and I think that's all I've printed off. Yeah, back to that. So let's go back to my little tab. So I just liked the sound of it, and I liked that basically there's a lot of room to move with it, and as I said, I'm not adding 20 books on top of what I had already thought about for next year. These will hopefully fill in some of the other things that I'm already doing. I'm going to double dip quite happily. If I read a book for this that fits in 2 other challenges, I'm doing that. because again, it's all just fun. And if I shove this all in the bin in April because I cannot be bothered, that again is a thing as well. So we'll just see. So I thought that I would show this because I was unsure that I would do anything big. I think it's on the goals page, wherever I might find the goals page. So do 2 readathons or challenges. So I've got Romanceopoly and I've got room for something else. So if I start watching a heap of booktube videos again, which I sort of dip in and out of, and something else catches my eye, like maybe a weekend readathon or something like that, or and I don't know what they call it, but March, there's usually an Irish readathon, I might do something like that. We'll just see. So that is now the final setup of my reading journal, and I think that my plan actually is potentially to do a flip through in July and just see how all the pages are looking, what's changed, or anything like that, and just do an update then. So this truly now is the end of the video. I thank you for watching if you got this far. If you did, are you considering Romanceopoly? Drop it in the line down below. If you are, what are going to be your majors and minors? Let's talk about it. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye for now.